Well, and both Luke and Bruce Wayne do this heroic thing at the very end, and it's also something that's not exactly how people wanted them to do it.
But Luke wasn't give a lightsaber to somebody at the end for no reason, though.
Well, I mean, in a way, in a way, he did.
What?
Oh.
Yeah, he did. Rey is the John Blake of Star Wars.
I have given a name to my pain. The Batman.
Always waiting for some Batman to save you.
It's simple. We kill the Bat of Gotham. You don't really think you'll win, do you? I'm Batman.
You're listening to episode 123 of the Batman on Film podcast. This is a very special episode. We will be talking about The Dark Knight's 10th anniversary, but we cannot do this show without Bill Jett Ramey, so he will be here. We'll be talking to him. We have Ryan Haas. How you doing there, Ryan?
Yo, I'm doing good.
And we got Rick Shew.
Hey now. I had to get a hey now in there.
God.
And like I mentioned, we have Mr. Bill Jett Ramey. How you doing, Bill? On a podcast
Hey now,
again.
Rick stole my hey now, but whatever.
You stole it from Howard Stern. Howard Stern stole it from Gary Shandling. It's just all right.
Yes.
When's the last time all four of us were on a show?
Dude,
Not
it's
this
been over
year.
a year.
I don't know.
December
over
of 2018 or 17.
Was it our Justice League wrap-up show?
Don't drag the show down, dude. All right, so
we're here to talk about a good Batman movie.
yeah. Batman on Film, definitive, authoritative.
Oh man, you messed that up.
How did I mess that up?
Authoritative.
It's first.
Goodness. You know what? Lawnmowers. All right, hold on. Batman on Film, authoritative, definitive.
The dadgum
original. Thank you for listening. If you want to support the Batman on Film podcast, we highly recommend and would encourage you to visit our Patreon site. So please go to www.patreon.com/BatmanOnFilm, where you can support and join what we are doing here on Batman on Film, helping us make the show better while getting handsomely rewarded for your efforts. So please head on over there and make that happen. You can also leave us an iTunes podcast review. That would be great. Tell more people all about your favorite Batman podcast, like this one. So go ahead and do that. And then you can also follow the Batman Podcast Network. Ryan, tell us about an amazing show on the Batman Podcast Network.
There's Multiverse Musings, a DC Comics podcast. Everybody's best pal, Jordan Valdez, and his pal Adam Bassiano talk about all kinds of DC stuff. Actually, their latest episode was a Marvel episode, but yeah, check them out. They do a good job.
Awesome. All right, thank you for that. You can follow that over on Twitter as well.
Yeah, at Batpod Network.
Batpod Network. All right, guys. So we are going to jump into The Dark Knight, and here's what's really cool about The Dark Knight. When I think about The Dark Knight, it is deeply connected to Batman on Film. It went hand in hand for me back then. I don't know how you guys felt. So I think it's really important that we kind of get some firsthand accounts from Bill during that time, because there needs to be a Batman on Film section on these Dark Knight Blu-rays, because Bill was at the forefront of all this, giving information and being the person vetting a lot of the rumor and everything during that time. And so it's been it's been kind of cool looking at the website. If you go over there right now, Bill's been posting all the set visits, the interviews, talking to Christian Bale about Sudoku and all other stuff. Like there's like a lot of cool stuff's been on there. So if you guys are wanting to dive a little deeper, definitely check out the website, because Bill's been digging through the archives and putting all that stuff at the forefront. So it's been pretty cool reading all that stuff and going back. So what I kind of wanted to talk about first, we'll just jump into the timeline. So at the end of 2005, after Batman Begins came out, we got the tease, the Joker's in this movie, but then we really didn't find out it was filmed until probably late 06. Is that right, Bill? That it was going to happen?
Let's see. in July of 2006, that's when news broke that Heath Ledger had been cast. In fact,
that was the first major thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was it was Latino Review. I'll give them, which Kelvin is no longer running that site since he did sell it. But yeah, I mean, it was Kelvin and them, Umberto. I don't know if Mario was with Latino Review then, but yeah, they broke that story. I mean, literally, it must have been a Wednesday night or a Thursday. I was going to Comic-Con that year in San Diego, and so that was all the talk. And then about a couple weeks later, like Comic-Con was like now. This time, it was like very end of July then, and then a couple weeks later, in first part of August, they issued a press release officially announcing The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
With the name The Dark Knight, and that the fact that Heath Ledger had been cast and Christian Bale was returning and all that. So yeah, that's how it went down.
Man, so I remember when Heath Ledger was announced, that's when people lost their minds.
Yeah.
It's like in every Batman film, people lose their minds, man.
Yeah,
Heath Ledger's casting was like the Michael Keaton casting in a sense.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, this actor that falls under this particular category can play this character.
He did 10 Things I Hate About You. He does,
A Knight's Tale.
Yeah, just all these things people just started drudging up, and it was ridiculous.
Well, Brokeback Mountain was the big
Mountain
thing.
Was the biggest nonsensical thing, which Brokeback Mountain is Brokeback Mountain is. To say it's a fantastic film is not doing it justice, and his performance in that movie is tremendous. And
it's tremendous, and it was ahead of its time. That wouldn't have had the backlash now as it even did just then, which is kind of remarkable, really.
Yeah, it definitely was one of those deals where fan reaction. So anyway, so we get into the announcements of Heath Ledger, and then it's kind of quiet as you move forward. So what was the next big thing in the timeline of The Dark Knight? What was one of the things that stood out to you?
I don't know if anything. Looking back, I don't know if things started really happening until maybe early of 2007. They didn't start filming till like May. Okay. Yeah, because that's one of the first things they filmed was the bank robbery deal.
Yeah, and so that's where I'm getting. When you found out they invited you to set? How did that go down?
Oh, okay. That was like very end of May of 2007, and I got an email from Warner Brothers saying, and it's publicist who still works there, who I know and very good friends with to this day, and she was like, "Hey, I'm taking a small group of people to the set of The Dark Knight in Chicago. You want to go?" And I'm like, let me think about that for a second. No, I was like, hell yeah. So and it was on. Within 2 weeks after that, I went to Chicago for 2 days. It was supposed to be a one-day thing, but we were on set so long. They kept us. I mean, we were there. It had to be 12 hours, damn near 12 hours.
Wow.
And so they made it a 2-day. So we flew in on a Friday and went to the set on a Saturday and left on Sunday. But that whole day was spent on the set. We got there, probably left at 8, got there by 9, before 9. And it was starting to get dark when we left because they had just finished filming. When we left, they were just finishing filming the Gordon running up the stairs of the quote unquote bank.
Yeah.
That you see in the movie after he goes to the crime scene of the bank, the bank robbery. So, and that's Chicago in June. That's almost summer. And if you know anything about, get me on a geography, weather type thing. But anyway, the summers are up in the Midwest, the further north you go, are really long. So that stands out. I mean, it doesn't get dark till 9 or 10 in the summer in Chicago and that area in the Midwest. So yeah, that made me remember because you can see in the movie it's dusk. It's
Yeah.
It's getting to be night, and it really was. So we were there 12 hours at least, for sure.
Wow. Guys, what do you guys have? Any memory leading up to the movie before it came out? What were you guys thinking, Ryan? You have any?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, what was cool is like you were able to keep up with everything on BOF, and as everybody probably remembers, the marketing, the viral marketing was just ridiculous for The Dark Knight. It was super successful.
That started in May 2 of 2007.
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I looked up the date, May 20th was when
That was the reveal, right?
The reveal of Heath Ledger's Joker, and what happened was like people had to sign up with email to reveal 1 pixel of this image of Heath Ledger's Joker, the first image. There was like a website. There was the I Believe in Harvey Dent website that had the Harvey Dent banner, and then there was a second website that popped up, which was I Believe in Harvey Dent 2, and that one was all defaced by the Joker. And
I forgot about that one. That's right.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. And then every time somebody signed up, you revealed 1 pixel. So I was just reloading the page all day, seeing like a little bit more.
That started like on a Friday, and then it wasn't completely revealed till like the next day. It took that long, and that also caused a freak out.
Yeah, because then that was your first image of like the Joker, and everybody was like, "Huh?
Yeah.
What?" At first it was Heath Ledger, and then it's like, this is what he looks like? Is this what he looks like? Is it is it intentionally, obviously they weren't showing it's just the face. You couldn't see the hair, you couldn't see the outfit. It was just his face. And that was the scars, which probably led to the whole like perma white discussion.
That's
and stuff.
where that's where it started right there.
So everybody, it was this crazy like speculation of like where are they going with this character? But I was, I was along with the ride. It was great. It was so good.
I loved how it looked. I know Rick wasn't happy with the look, right?
No, not at first. Not at first. It grew on me within like 2 days. I just kept going back to it, and I don't know what it was. It just didn't. Yeah, I saw it. It was a great lesson for me on multiple fronts. Right. It was to learn to trust casting, particularly with someone like Nolan, and then it was also learning to trust their vision.
Well, Rick? What was your when Ledger was cast? Were you like Heath Ledger? Really?
Yeah, I wasn't really all that familiar with his work. I mean, Brokeback was the thing that I was probably most familiar with. So there wasn't any backlash with me on that.
But just aesthetically, I mean.
Yeah, I thought maybe to be honest with you, I was thinking, man, I thought they'd go with someone taller and skinnier and look a little bit more like a comic book Joker versus something that.
We'll talk about that in a bit.
Yeah, versus a Jack Nicholson or whatever.
Yeah,
and so that's what I was taken back by a little bit. And then when I saw the first still, I thought, what is this, like Silence of the Lambs? This is real weird. He's like smearing makeup on his face, like you put the lotion in the basket or whatever, that kind of thing. And the worst impression ever, but whatever. So yeah, but then after what it was, guys? There was a shot that was released. I don't know the
front or whatever.
Yeah, where it shows Nolan on the holding looking into the IMAX camera.
Oh,
and you see the purple,
and you see the green hair.
You see the green hair, and I was like, wait a minute. And then I go back to that other picture. I'm like, now I get it.
But that was the thing too, because that shot you didn't really see the whole face,
no, it was
and then
hidden.
we're trying to like, how do you? We were trying to reconcile that. Like, how does this match that face we saw? And that was kind of a cool thing.
Yeah,
that almost felt like a red herring. Not really. But
it almost did.
But it kind of was like, oh, here's what the Joker looks like, and you kind of get the sense that it was a more classic version, just because of what you start informing the things you can't see, because it was very blurry. It was like this, translucent. Like glass, and so
I
remember it looked like he had big long hair and all that stuff, and it just kind of like, what's going on here?
He almost looked like he had like a fro hair. Almost, I remember it was real tall, and the lip and the red lips really went up close to his ears.
Well, it was like frosted glass, so it made everything seem bigger than it was. You know
it
what
did,
I'm
but
saying?
but you put it side by side with that first picture. If you were someone like me that maybe had a little bit of doubt. And then all of a sudden you said, "Okay, I see what this is going to be something unique," and I'm excited. I'm sold. I'm going to see what this is. So that was cool.
Yeah, it was. That whole viral marketing was fun. I was getting phone calls from people. I got a phone call from some guy like screaming one time. I wish there has to be some type of like online like bank of all of that stuff where someone saved it all, because it was crazy. You would get phone calls and like some guy's tied up screaming. Like, what the heck? Why is someone calling me like screaming at the phone? And they'd give. He was being tortured by the Joker, and then you'd get like another website you'd go to. There was one of them that alluded to. Oh my gosh, was the Penguin mentioned by name, or was
The
it
Iceberg
the
Lounge?
Iceberg Lounge was mentioned?
Yeah, that
Okay.
That was in those newspapers.
Was it in newspapers?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember where some of this stuff was.
The
pulled
Gotham
from.
Globe newspapers they sent out.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's why I feel like the club is the Iceberg Lounge, where he confronts Maroni.
That's the best fight scene in the trilogy, man. I love that scene.
Nolan would tell you, Justin, if that's what you want it to be, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there it is. And then it is.
But you know the first time I was really sold on the Joker, though, guys, was that first teaser where you don't even see him, and it's just
his voice.
It's just his voice, and he's like,
that was another component.
Tonight, people will die. I'm a man of my word. And then he laughs, and you're going, "Oh my God!"
Well, there was speculation
I'm
on that
sold.
too.
I'm sold.
Yeah. I just remember that just being a weird It was just ice. I remember people having a weird time with that. Because
It was just the bat
not
symbol
ice, it was
breaking
just
apart,
weird,
you know?
Yeah, but it was
Yeah.
like weird blue lasers shooting through
Yeah.
through the logo. Was that what it was? I'm trying to
Yeah.
remember.
It was
That's
the
exactly
logo
what it
breaking
was.
apart, but because
Yeah.
Batman is the shit
world
was
is crumbling.
crumbling apart, and that was during. Hey, when that broke, that was at Comic-Con, and they had also at the same time, and this is what really I think it even amped up the perma-white stuff, because we're talking about July of 2007. They released that first trailer, and they release a still. It's Heath Ledger's the Joker with Maggie Gyllenhaal as Rachel Dawes, and it's the you want to know how I got these scars scene from the side, and you can at that point you can clearly see that he is wearing makeup. His neck is
right.
His neck is skin color. His wrists are, and that sent people into orbit. I remember that, having to deal with that nonsense, because they were still holding on to the belief that he was going to be perma-white, and at some point, and then there were all of these rumors. Do y'all remember how that they were going to have his origin in the film? Like the zip line was going to be the reason why he had the scars and all that stuff. Yeah,
at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. That's hilarious.
So I remember that well, because that also broke at Comic-Con, and I was actively asking people, just because I wanted to know, and they were like, there was some butt hurtness, man, And
So
then
let me
of course,
ask you.
just finish
No, go
that
ahead.
thought up. And
Yeah,
then
go ahead.
and then a year later, the movie's out, and he's the greatest Joker in the history of the universe, and wearing
Well, that
Joker
trailer,
shirts and all that.
the
stuff,
first
so.
full trailer, full trailer in November or whatever. That was when people were like, "Oh, okay, here's the full picture."
Yeah, that was the "you change things forever," at the beginning. Yeah, that was
Yeah. And it's amazing how much things play out when they're in context, when you see them. I mean, not to get off the rails here, but even that second suit that he has on in The Dark Knight, the first visual of it I wasn't crazy about, but then you see how it's used in the film. You're like, okay, I get it. Same kind of thing that's just a Nolan thing, really. You just got to trust his vision. But how many? I'm going back kind of to that first trailer too, that first teaser where you just hear his voice. How many of you guys just kept replaying the last scene in Batman Begins in your head over and over again? It just changed that whole scene for me. Once I heard him, and now I've seen pictures, and now I think about Gordon handing him that card and that dialogue. I'm like, oh God, that he just makes that scene that was already like the best thing ever even more cool, even cooler than it was. And
Yeah.
it just made me, I don't know, it even made that teaser made Batman Begins better just out of the gate.
Yeah.
It's just awesome.
Yeah, it was really a fantastic time. It was exciting to see what else was coming out. I think even then, even though the internet's thriving there, it was 10 years ago. It wasn't as everything that like it is
Right.
now, and so there's still a little bit of mystery wrapped up into the fandom side of it, connected to the production side of it. So you didn't have everything being revealed to you, but you got what Nolan wanted to give you.
Yeah,
and so
I think it was the last time also that there was quite a bit of camaraderie amongst fans, and there wasn't as much vitriol and as we see today over these movies. You started to get that with Dark Knight Rises a little bit, and then like today, my gosh, it's ridiculous. But I mean, you had that, but you know what? As much as I covered that film, I wasn't spoiled at all. I mean, I went in
until the end. We had Nurse Joker got spoiled really quick.
That pissed me off. Yeah.
Oh yeah, someone released photos, right? I
can know who it was too. Should I say his name or even give him the time of day? I will not even give him the satisfaction of that. What a a-hole.
Is it who I think it is? Can I just ask that?
I doubt it.
Okay.
Rick.
I mean, I'm not trying to be condescending. I don't think you would know who this person is. No.
Okay, right on.
Yeah, that was awful. But okay, so let's kind of go back into Rick. You touched upon it. There was this like crazy like fan campaign for Joker actors. You had, what was it? Was it Leshay Hume? He was from
Locky.
Oh yeah.
Locky. Okay, yeah.
Locky
he was
Hume.
in Matrix. I remember that.
Yeah.
And he kind of resembled the Joker that who's your buddy that illustrates at DC Comics right now? I'm not.
Well, we had the Liber Mayhew.
That's who it was.
Make the two, Joker and Two-Face images.
That's who he kind of looked like. It kind of looked like what Liber Mayhew was doing, that guy, and I think that gave that rumor a little bit of credibility, just because.
You know what? And I'm looking back on that, and I've this is not something that just came to me right now, and I don't know if Locky was part of this, and I don't think so. I think that was actually really fan driven, but there were a lot of actors pushing for that role. And there was a lot of shenanigans where publicists and maybe
would
even
throw out
actors
fake
themselves,
info.
would give sites fake information to get those people's name in the running. I mean,
but Ledger was like always like his pick, right? Like from before it was.
Yeah. I remember a Batman on Film report this was early 2006, I think, and it was Nolan was seen with Ledger, like somewhere in LA. Like, I remember that report, and it was before Dark Knight stuff was.
Well, he told me, and Emma Thomas, his wife, told me. I mean, that we talked about that it was always Heath Ledger, always was. Because if you see my interview with her, I asked her, about how coveted that role was and whatnot, but it was always Heath Ledger. Yeah.
So let's switch. Let's jump into a different casting. So Katie Holmes was out, and they brought Maggie Gyllenhaal in. What were your thoughts on that?
I never like when a major character changes an actor or actress. It always just takes me out of the reality of that character. But I don't. And look, all the rumors that surround why Katie Holmes didn't come back, that Tom Cruise had her locked in a closet or whatever. I don't know, but it was all very weird. So, I mean, there was some strange rumors.
Well,
I'll
say that I saw their act, the Tomcat act, at the Batman Begins press junket. And
right,
I'm not trying to suggest anything. I'm just saying I saw that, and if I saw that, people who have more influence on these films, if you know what I mean, saw it too. I don't think also that she endeared herself very much, and she was. I mean, there's nothing against her. She seems to be. I mean, she was fine at the junket. There was nothing, Now, the other dude, I mean, they rode up on a motorcycle. He had her on the back, and it was just, and he was hovering around the whole deal at the Beverly Wilshire Hotel where the junket was. But, she goes on. She was like the only person who did late night press, late night talk show press for Batman Begins, and she talked about Tom Cruise movie and not Batman Begins, War of the Worlds. Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a conversation for another day. Everybody's on a Tom Cruise high right now because of Mission Impossible. That's a weird dude. He's a weird dude. But anyway, but let's move on from that. So yeah, I liked Katie Holmes in Batman Begins. I like her, period. And I didn't think she was. Some people say she didn't do a very good job in the film. I don't personally see that at all. I watched that going. Show me where her performance is bad. I think her performance is great in this film. So, but I'll say this: the recasting was fine. Just like her brother Jake, Maggie is very talented, and so it had nothing to Team Jake. It had nothing to do with her level of talent. I just don't necessarily like when a casting change is made. But listen, if Katie Holmes wasn't coming back, and it is what it is, they have to move on. But I will say this. And this is nothing against Katie Holmes. That's why I wanted to preface this with I think that she's a delightful actress and she did a fine job of Batman Begins. But the scene where Rachel is tied down and she has a pretty good feeling that she's probably about to die because it's going to be either her or Harvey. Yeah. And you can see it in her face and you can hear it in her inflection. And I think that her character knows that her time is about running out. That is a very, very intense acting moments in that movie, and I don't know if Katie had the chops to pull that off because that was pretty serious business. So I will say that scene had a lot more weight to it with someone of her stature in that particular moment. Yeah. But overall, I mean, I wish that Katie could have returned, but we got that moment for Maggie, and that's a very pivotal moment in that movie too. So
there's no way to test that water. You just gotta go from their body of work and make your decision. So Harvey Dent. So
overlooked.
Aaron Eckhart, I think he was fantastic in that movie. Yep. And you don't hear him.
There were a lot of rumors for Harvey Dent too.
Yeah, there were.
Oh, there was tons
of rumors.
Liev
Schreiber stuff and all that kind of deal.
Matt Damon got offered the role and turned it down. So. But yeah, that was a coveted role, and I think there were shenanigans with that as well. Not from Matt Damon because that guy could, he doesn't, it's Matt Damon. But I'm just saying that there were a lot of names out there for that part that I'm sure were circulated by PR people and agents and maybe actors themselves, but. Eckhart
so good.
Eckhart got. I mean, there were no rumors about him, and then boom, he gets. He's the one.
He was a sleeper.
Yeah, he was an independent film guy. He did that. Man, what was that movie he did? It was like no, that was later. That was with Katie Holmes. Actually, that was like 2006 when that movie came out.
Okay.
But they were both great in that, by the way. But no, he was just an independent kind of artsy films, and he came out of nowhere. There's a film that he's in, and listen, the premise is awful, but he sets up and sets up these women to take advantage of him, and it's really uncomfortable to watch. He's gruesome in it, but maybe that performance is what I wish I could remember the name of the film now, but maybe that's the performance that caught Nolan's attention.
Well, I thought he was really good, and they were going for a Kennedy family, Kennedy vibe, I'm not, what I'm saying when I say that, the charisma and he certainly had it.
In the Company of Men is the name of the movie. Just
what? And what's funny is way back, I'm talking 2000. He was rumored for a young Jim Gordon.
Oh, really?
And Batman when it was looking like they were going to go. They were developing that Batman Year One, Darren Aronofsky, Frank Miller thing that didn't get made, and he came up as a young, to play young Jim Gordon. I asked him about that too on the set. I said, "Did you ever hear that?" And he said, "I did not hear that." So that's interesting, though, So
yeah, that's funny rumors. So so that he was cool. He got to remember those Gotham Tonight deals they would do. There was he was on some of those, so it was kind of cool as part of the viral to kind of get to see who he was.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed him as Harvey Dent. Even during the trailers, you started to find out that, he's going to be Two-Face. It wasn't, I don't remember it being a, they informed it with the I Believe in Harvey Dent 2, but I didn't think we were going to get it in the movie. I thought it was kind of.
We went out. This goes back to the set visit. He wasn't filming that day, but he came. I think he was like the first person we interviewed that morning. We were there, and he came to the cast, or he came to the set, and we interviewed him and someone. There was only like five. There was like 5 of us, I think, that were there for this, and someone asked him, "Is Two-Face in the movie?" And he looked at the publicist who was with us, and she shook her head yes, and he said, "Okay, yes, I become Two-Face in the movie." So
Wow.
Yeah, that was a surprise too, because we just assumed like they're gonna save that for later. But that's before we knew that's what they were gonna do.
You think they could have got away with not revealing that until the movie came out? Was there any way to keep that?
I think so, because it wasn't practical makeup. It was all CGI, and there was one scene in I think one of the final trailers where it has him. He has the gun up against his head and he's inside the limo, but you don't.
But you don't see
And
that
they did
was
release
good
that. Well, they remember that clip when he comes in the bar, and that the bartender, that cop, is like, "Jesus, Dent,"
Yeah.
and
The coin is spinning.
Yeah. He said, "I thought you were dead," and he said, "Half." Yeah.
Yeah.
They released that, before
That's
the movie
true.
came out.
It was a surprise to see him. It just felt like, they're alluding, they're pushing really hard, because you're thinking, they're going to do that in a third or whatever like that. So, all right, let's just get into the movie coming out.
Okay.
Can I just say this real fast before we move on?
Yeah.
How about the scene that he is with the mental patient? I can't remember, and he's playing roulette with him, roulette. That scene, man,
that's really good.
It's powerhouse stuff. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah. And then Batman comes down, and it's a great scene, Rick. Thanks for
It's a great scene. It's a great scene.
Thanks for derailing, man.
Sorry, man. I didn't want to bring him up, because here's the deal with him. Like, some people, some critics of the film get real condescending. Oh man, that's overrated, and there was only an Oscar because Heath Ledger died. I'm like, oh BS. That performance was worth every bit. The only thing that might have come about that unfortunate episode, which is horrendous, is the fact that maybe Aaron Eckhart's character didn't get quite the attention that he should have gotten. But they're equally as good in my opinion, and it's casting was flawless.
Yeah.
So, I will touch upon that a little bit. And so in January of 2008, we get the news that Heath Ledger passes away. As fans of this stuff, you do kind of get wrapped up in the like, well, what's going to happen? I mean, it's a fair question to ask. Are they going to put this movie out? What's going to happen? Are they going to release it? What's going on with all this? And it kind of went quiet for a little bit, and then I think Warner Brothers released an image of Heath Ledger as the Joker in the car. Right? Was that when they kind of put this image out, and everything just started moving? I think they switched the focus of the viral to Harvey Dent for a little bit. Is that fair? I'm trying to put all my my memories back in the right place.
Yeah. I think they finished out. I mean, the Why So Serious part was about played out anyway by that time, and they were about to kick up the I Believe in Harvey Dent stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe they went a little sooner, but I mean, that was January, and then by March, they were full into I Believe in Harvey Dent, because I was one of the ones who went and marched at a frickin' Harvey Dent parade
Campaign rally.
Campaign rally, and held a sign and everything, and so because that was during spring break, so it was mid-March. It was middle of March, So
Yeah.
I
wish. Do you have photos of that? 'Cause that's hilarious.
I think I do. Yeah, I have to find them.
Yeah, because they had. I remember they had the vans everywhere. Harvey Dent vans, and man, the whole thing was really fun. How they
I had the Harvey
it.
Dent. I had the whole shirt I wore around, and people are like, what
too.
the hell is
Yeah.
And God, but that the one I went to was relatively small, but I mean there were some like in New York and that were
LA
huge
ones. Yeah.
huge ones. Yeah.
Yeah. You got a lot of the stuff sent to you. A lot of the
I did.
It was fun seeing. You put the pictures on Batman on film. You got the T-shirts, the masks, what was it? The Legions of Batman, was it?
Citizens for Batman.
Citizens for Batman. Yeah. That's
Citizens
that's cool.
for Batman. That was part of the whole deal too.
Yeah.
Let's see. I got the whole Joker kit. Like he was recruiting me for to be one of his goons, and that came with one of the masks that they wore during the bank robbery, and I got a T-shirt, a very nice. I mean, I'm talking like probably $60, $70, $80 designer T-shirt. It was just the eyes and the mouth of the Joker. It was from that. They took it from when he looked up when he was in that cell. And he looks up, and they used that. I wish I could show it to you, but that came from Emma Thomas sent me that. And then, but the other stuff, I got. Then there was all of that, Citizens for Batman stuff they sent me. It was like a cowl and all this stuff, a card that I'm a member of the Citizens for Batman, and all kind of stuff, and even a keychain. It's Batman's, it's his fist, and it says Citizens for Batman. I still have it on my keychain. I still have it.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of that stuff I've put up and everything. I'm gonna keep it. And it was, I didn't say it. Yeah, I've said it before. Covering The Dark Knight. Batman Begins is my favorite Batman movie of all time, and I love the entire trilogy. I love The Dark Knight Rises. I love The Dark Knight. I think The Dark Knight is the greatest comic book film to date. But it was the most fun I ever had covering a Batman movie was Dark Knight, and I had a hell of a lot of fun covering Begins and Rises too. But there was something just like the movie. There was something.
It's like Batmania almost.
Yeah,
like
it was
that level.
It was.
Because
It absolutely was. It absolutely was, and it was
blew
just,
up. That was the thing. It was.
Yeah.
It was a phenomenon, and it was the modern. From '89. This was the next stage of like Batman.
You've had it 3 times. You've had it 66. You had it in '89, and then you had it in 08 with The Dark Knight.
And the success of the movie too. Cracking $1 billion and all that.
No one thought that was going to happen.
No.
Yeah.
Batman Begins was good. It made its mark and kind of created a buzz at the end of the summer. It had legs and went on. But Dark Knight it was a perfect storm of I think curiosity on everything. Like, what is going to happen? How's Ledger's stuff going to work out? Like,
and the Joker, and Batman, and just and
especially the viral marketing, everything tied in, just made it this special movie.
And cinematic and epic wise too. I mean, it was the first major motion picture to use IMAX cameras.
Oh yeah.
So that was a big deal too. And
so
and
did you all see I Am Legend? Remember going to watch I Am Legend?
Yeah.
So you could see in IMAX. So
the prologue, and that's the thing too. There was the prologue, the IMAX prologue. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just know the opening bank heist scene in IMAX. Seeing it in IMAX on that IMAX camera was quite an experience.
Yeah.
It's quite. Hey, Bill, the screening that you guys are going to in New York, is it? It's an IMAX screening.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's IMAX. That's why they're doing it. It's IMAX 70 millimeter
Rick.
film.
You get the whole thing.
You get to watch that opening. Well, it's also the 10th anniversary of the damn movie, but anyway.
But they're only releasing it in 70 millimeter IMAX.
That's amazing that you get to watch that opening.
I'm glad you read the news reports on Batman on Film, where I had a whole story about that.
I read everything that you don't write, sir.
There's not much. Then you must not read
email he
anything.
sent out. Can you guys go to this?
But that scene is
Lord.
Man, that scene is great.
Yeah,
no,
it's a great scene. So, but that again, all of that I think just built into making this fantastic
cultural event.
It's a cultural event. You're right, and we still got. I mean, they're still making statues of it, and there's still stuff being put out for this movie.
Has there been? There hasn't. I would argue that we haven't had that for another comic book film since.
Not at all. I mean,
No.
I feel like I just saw a Dark Knight statue at Comic-Con last week, and it was a new one. It was in the middle of the collectible aisle, and so it's still making its impact on society.
It's one of the greatest American movies of all time as well. Not just comic book movie. And you know what? The Dark Knight took that away. It eliminated comic book from. People said it's a great film, and they didn't have to say it's a great comic book movie. It's a great film.
You could take those characters out of that movie and not be Batman and not be the Joker, and it still would be a great crime film. It's a great movie. It's heat.
And it changed how the best pictures get chosen for the Oscars.
Yeah.
There you go.
When Joker says, or to Batman, you've changed things forever. He was serious.
Yeah. No, you're right. And
we took that a bit literally, didn't we?
Yeah.
Another tie-in dialogue. Hey, I'm gonna roll here. Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's what's cool. Like the Dark Knight's legacy. Forever, I feel Batman on film is connected to that. At least for myself, and I believe you guys, and a lot of the people that have been reading the site for all these years. That's why I was like, Bill, you got to do this show. You got to talk about your experiences because it's special, and I feel like, and I don't want to speak for you, but just from your conversations and things you've shared, this kind of, not that it was a validation, but it was like, it kind of had some type of significance for all the hard work that you were doing, and then look what happened, and you got to be part of it and invited into it. By the creators.
Begins was kind of like, okay, this is why I started Batman on film, when it came out. And I had got some, Batman film got invited to the set of Batman Begins. I didn't get to go because it was in the UK, and then they did it when I had gone back to work for football. And, I went to the junket for Batman Begins, but I felt out of place a little bit, For one thing, I'd never done any of that stuff before, and I just didn't feel. I felt out of place, and it wasn't extremely. That stuff wasn't very personal. The movie was personal for me, but not Batman Begins. I'm talking about, but The Dark Knight. When I went to the set, I went to the. I know after we interviewed Eckhart, it was. Emma Thomas and Charles Robin, the producers. Of course, Emma's Nolan's wife, and so I'm sitting there, and I would catch her kind of looking at me funny. I'm like, okay, why is she looking at me like that? And it was not like, it was just, and so I went to the restroom after that panel or whatever. At some point, I went to the restroom. And she was out there, and she said, "Jett." And I said, "Yes, ma'am." And she said, "We really like the stuff that you do, and we appreciate the non-spoiler thing." I said, "Well, thank you." And she said, "I just wanted to tell you that, and you can let people know that we are not going to go to Comic-Con in July with this, because everyone was expecting them to show up and do a big panel at Comic-Con. This is May, so this is June, so Comic-Con's next month."
Yeah.
And I said, is it okay if I write something on Batman the film to announce that? She goes, "Would you do that, please?" And I said, "I will." And so
that's awesome.
I remember there was a lot of vitriol that they weren't going to Comic-Con. And they did go to, but that's what started my relationship with her, and it wasn't just them trying to buy me off. It's it's kind of a brutal way to put it, but I mean, try to get them in my good graces, so I would be positive toward that film. Because look, I'm gonna be positive toward that film anyway for the most part, because it was right up my alley. And I wasn't doing spoilers anyway. So,
yeah.
But I think, she really thought, this is a good guy here. This is not some, someone with an ulterior motive.
Yeah.
And her and Chris did a lot for me from that moment on, and gave me access to stuff that no one else got. I mean, look, I went to the junket and I had a one-on-one interview with her and Chris. I mean, separately, and no one got that. No print journalist, unless you were, New York Times or whatever, Rolling Stone. I don't know how many articles he did with them. He probably did one with Jeff Boucher from L.A. Times at that time, who was doing Hero Complex. But I remember, though, I mean, it's been 10 years, whatever. It was very clear, okay, this is going to happen. And my publicist dude was like, okay, you know who it was? It wasn't Warner Brothers. It was Chris's publicist. And she was like, okay, you can't say this is a one-on-one. Okay? And I remember, okay, so she brings me into the room. They had taken a hotel room at that. Again, it's at the Beverly Wilshire, so they had it same thing as Batman Begins. And the room's empty. They take out all the furniture, but there's just a table in there, table and chair. So I'm in there with Rachel. Rachel goes with me, so it's me and her. And she's like, okay, remember now, it's not one-on-one. And I'm like, okay, but, there's no one in there except for Rachel, And so he comes in, and I think I'd met him before. I mean, personally, not just, but... And he came in, and I said, well, this is apparently not one-on-one, but he looks around and says, well, it kind of looks like it is, except for your wife here. And he goes, we can't make any of these other people jealous, can we? So I said, okay, gotcha. So, and anyway, he did the interview that you can read on Batman on Film, and I posted it again here recently, and it was,
Is that the interview where you ask him if Batman goes on?
I asked him at the end. I think it was my last. I said,
yeah.
Batman in the comics is everlasting. Is this Batman everlasting? And he said, absolutely. And I can't. And then that was, he said something else, and I can't remember exactly what he said. But you look back, what ends up becoming Rises, and they knew if they made a third film, they knew where they were going. They knew the ending. Goyer has said as much.
That it would end.
They knew it was going to end, and they knew that Bruce Wayne was going to move on, have an happy ending or whatever you want to call it. So you look back, and of course Rises is all about, the point is Batman is everlasting. Batman is a symbol. So I just wonder, at that time I'm thinking, we're going to get one movie after another, So
yeah.
His idea of Batman being everlasting is a lot different than what a lot of us as comic book readers, and believed. And he asked me if I liked the film. So, what'd you think? So, I asked him about the I said, how'd you pull off the magic trick with the pencil? And he laughed and said, we had to be really careful with that, and he was really excited about how much stuff was practical shots,
Yeah.
flipping the 18
the
wheeler,
truck
and,
flip,
and all that
man.
stuff. So, and
had Christian Bale up on the skyscraper for real and stuff like that.
Yeah,
all of that stuff was.
Yeah, that was where. It was that same day, so Rachel goes with me. So we had got there the night before. So the next day, we're going to do all these interviews and stuff. And I'm, here I am, like this some guru by this time. And I'm telling her, I said, we're waiting to get on the elevator. And I went, now look, you're going to see a lot of people that you know who are famous. Okay, I said, you got to act like, here I am talking shit. You got to act like you've been there before. Okay, And so the elevator opens up, and we go in. We walk in, and it was kind of, there were a few people in there, and this this dude goes, no, come on in. So we walk in, and my back is to the door of the elevator, and I'm kind of facing Rachel, and she's turning around, and her eyes got like big as saucers. And so I turn around and look, and so the one who told us to come in was Christian Bale. And so she's in a complete freak out that when I just said that, you're going to, and we go in and there's Christian Bale in the elevator. So, yeah, just a moment from that period of time.
Yeah.
That's fun to talk about.
And it should be, because this, again, one of the greatest Batman movies, kind of a highlight in your time in covering these things.
Yeah.
I think you have every right to have these great memories in, these little. You have your own little special edition of The Dark Knight.
I do.
It's pretty awesome.
It's in my head, but in my heart. But yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's fun, and I like reading that stuff and kind of reliving it. Well,
it was. I did an article. A lot of the stuff I reposted from back in the day, but I did the a recap, retrospective of my set visit, and I framed it around what I saw filmed, and that day. And it's like I said, I was there for 12 hours. So look, they filmed most of that whole time, except when they broke for lunch, but they filmed, and that scene, that 10, 11 hours of filming is just a little over a minute on screen.
Yeah.
The three different parts they filmed that day are consecutive, and it's just like a minute in the film. But every time I see it, I go, I was there.
Yeah.
The vault scene with Gordon and Batman. The first time you see Batman and Gordon together in the movie, I saw that being filmed.
That's where Gordon he throws the money to Gordon.
And they ended up it's not in the film because he kept dropping it. Gary Oldman kept dropping it, and because Batman threw him the bills, the marked bills that he had given Gordon, and then that was like 4 hours of filming, and that's not long. And then, it's Ramirez and Gordon walking through the crime scene at the bank. Mm-hmm. That didn't take all that long to film. And then, of course, Gordon running up the stairs, and that's all cut together to kind of one scene. But again, it's just a little over a minute. But we did get to, after they filmed the vaults thing, they took us out on that set, and it was where they filmed this was at a building called the Old Post Office in Chicago, because it was like the old post office. And so they turned they made a bank lobby in there, and they still had the police tape from the crime scene, and the glass all over the floor from the shotgun, and we got to walk around through that, and we went into the vault. And I remember thinking, the first thing I noticed, that big door of that vault was made out of wood, but it looks like it's steel, wow. and the vault itself was an old post office box room, and they turned that into the vault itself. So movie magic, and it's and the end of the bus was still, was still in the. I guess they're supposed to drive it out, but it was still there. I mean, it's So anyway, just some random thoughts that come up when we reminisce about this stuff, man.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good stuff. What are, besides some of these set visits and some of the personal connections you were able to make, what are some of the other highlights of The Dark Knight for you?
Of The Dark Knight, take away all the extra stuff I did from Batman on film, and just as a fan, watching that movie the first time. And the ending, Gordon's speech.
Yeah.
Gordon's speech left me speechless. Speechless.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not only me, the entire frickin' theater just sat, and it's just, Silent Guardian, Watchful Protector, or Dark Knight, and then, then it's The Dark Knight, and then that music comes, and I'm getting chills right now. I'm looking at thinking about it, and
yeah.
I just sat there with Rachel, and I'm like, holy F. And, I go, so I leave, I go to the restroom, and people are just walking around like zombies, going, "What did we just see here?" You know, I mean, in awe of this movie, and God, thinking about that day, and that right there stands out the most. I still get chills. I still get uncontrollable welling up of the eyes when I even hear that or see it to this day. It's my ringtone on my phone. It's my ringtone. God, yeah, that's it. That's top of my list right there. It's the top of my list when it comes to Dark Knight. The ending, it was brilliant.
Yeah, that's great, man. All right, I wanted to get a little bit of Rick and maybe Ryan's thoughts on encapsulate it, quickly, Rick, on the Dark Knight. Rick, give me your takeaways, like your memories. If you had to give me maybe a paragraph about the Dark Knight, what is it?
It's the movie. It's the movie I've seen the most in the theaters, other than Batman '89. Wow. So there's that 20 times, and I start thinking about all the times that I saw it, and the memories are with certain people. Like me and my buddy Josh saw it 3 times. Me and Marty's cousin saw it a couple times from Chicago, and I started going down the list, going, man, I shared that movie with a lot of friends and family, a lot of loved ones. And not one time, no matter it was me and one other person or me and a group of 5 or 10, because there were all 3 of those combinations, nobody didn't love that movie. Yeah. Not one person. Didn't matter. I can't list any movie that I've had that kind of experience with ever. Really, I mean, I can't think of anything. There's always somebody that has an issue with something or whatever. That particular movie was just. It brought the Batman community together, and it was the last time we had something that special and that big. And the only other time we had it was Batman '89, and we didn't have it with Rises, and that's okay. It was the 3rd film in that trilogy, and you can't just recapture that. Although it was very special, it wasn't the Dark Knight.
It's hard to create that.
It's hard to create that.
Yes, you can't create it. I don't think.
And that's the thing that stands out to me the most, is just how special it was. How many times I saw it and who I shared it with. And I think I shared, I'll close with this. I think I share Bill's sentiments on this thing. And Bill, forgive me if I misquote you here. It's the best comic book movie ever made. But for me, Batman Begins is still my favorite Batman movie.
Yes.
But The Dark Knight is the best comic book movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it transcends.
It transcends. That's a good way to put it.
It moved me more than Batman Begins. I mean, I loved. Yeah. I told Emma Thomas this when I was interviewing her. I said, at the end of Batman Begins, I cheered. Like awesome. You know, sound like Jason Momoa for all of a sudden for a second. But Dark Knight moved me. The end of it moved me, left me speechless.
Yeah.
And it still does. It still resonates with me. And there's the difference. I love this movie. Look, I'm going to New York on my own coin, people. People are saying, "Oh, you getting that from Warner Brothers?" No, I'm not getting it from Warner. I'm going on my own just to see that movie in IMAX one more time. Because I don't know if I'll get another chance,
Yeah.
I love that movie, and that's I'm kind of lost for words,
Yeah.
Right now thinking about it. So,
Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, that is the thing is the Dark Knight transcending comic book movies or Batman. I mean, like Bill said, when I saw Batman Begins, it is like, oh yeah, Batman's awesome, and you kind of go along with that journey with Batman. He doesn't really know what he's unleashed, although he thinks he's got it figured out. And in the Dark Knight, you, along with Batman, with Bruce Wayne, discover that Batman is something more. That Batman can be more than just a mask and a cape. And that point was so well made by the end of that movie. I truly was speechless, and it is one of those things that really hits you, especially if you're as big of a fan of the character as we are. That when I first saw that, I just sat there for 10 minutes. It's just completely blown away by what that movie said about the character.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's always going to be special in that regard. Yeah.
I think one of the things that I love is how it kind of built up the world. You watch a movie like this, and when you're cheering for Lucius, like there's Lucius dealing with, what's the guy who's the auditor?
Yeah.
Mr. Reese.
Mr. Reese.
Just those
the Riddler. That guy was the Riddler.
Oh my gosh.
Mr. Reese.
We
Mr.
use that all the
Reese.
time. We use that line all the time where he's like, and you think, good luck. We use that whole thing all the time.
That's such a great scene. It's like, you think your boss dresses up and you want to extort him?
Beats up criminals to a pulp.
And your plan is to blackmail this person?
Yeah.
Good luck. And he's going, well, that's good. You kind of have a point there. That's the thing about that movie too, is just all the charm and humor it has in it, and it never takes you out of the movie.
Yeah,
never does.
Never. Yeah. Going back to what I was saying, it just world built Batman's world to where, you can't always have Batman on screen. You just can't. It's just, maybe you can, but like you need to flesh it out in the other parts of it, and you never felt like you were getting cheated out of a Batman story. And you can argue argue that in some of the other movies, like, hey, we need more Batman. There was more focus on this. I think what they did was really validate the character of Batman and his motivations and why he exists, and at the same time gave you a great Joker story and gave you a good Dent arc and everything. And so I really love this movie. I got to watch it again last week, and it's just so fun to revisit it and to just see all the little moments in it. Bruce Wayne walking down the corridor during when the Joker's goons come, when he busts apart that gun. Like, just all of those. That's a great Batman moment, and he's not even in the suit. Same with him taking the car and saving Mr. Reese, like as he's trying to help all the cops, all of that. Every one of those things is a Batman
that dude's
moment.
trying to out him, and he saves his freaking life,
Yeah. Gives him that little wink too, like to that point it was like he knows now.
Yeah.
It's just like, shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. So I just loved there's so many. As you watch it, you're probably, someone's listening right now and they're like, oh, what about that scene? And I'll just say, yeah, that scene counts. That scene's great because they're all there, and you miss them in a movie like this.
Well, we would spend hours going through each. Oh, this scene, this break. It's just you're right. What you said, Justin. Yeah, that scene too. Awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
They all count and they're all great, and it is such a special film. Even I think when we move 20 years away from this, and who knows what other movies have come out and stuff by then, The Dark Knight and I feel like Batman 89 are just two of those that really mean something in the Batman film legacy. I hope that we get another that we can place next to it.
Oh, I so much want to do this again. I'd like, am I being greedy? Can we do it at least one more time? Just one more time, please.
I don't think you're being greedy. I think that when you go down that road, that's what Batman on film is the the lobbyist for that great movie, and that's what we want. And so, hoping that we get it, I'm excited to go on that ride again when they do it right. So all right, so we'll tie the bow up on this, Bill. We probably could have done like a 5-hour episode on The Dark Knight. I know it's hard to edit and pull all the little things out, but thanks for coming on the show and giving us some of your thoughts. Your candid thoughts are the best thoughts, because no one needs to hear me. They just want to hear your experience through the thing. So go back to the site and read those articles, people. It's good stuff, and not everybody had that stuff. So check out Batman on Film and check out The Dark Knight. Just kind of revisit of all the articles there. So, all right.
I'll say this too, just on that note, my interview that I did with Bill down in Houston, that's going to be on our 20th anniversary video.
Yes.
My favorite parts of that interview, when I start talking to him about this stuff and The Dark Knight and just how he lights up This was a special time for BOF. It was a special time for fandom. And I think we can get that magic back at some point. I'm looking forward to it.
Yep, I agree. All right, let's get into some plugs. Rick, plug something, buddy.
I want to plug Tuesday. All right. This coming up Tuesday, I am going to be on this little podcast called Let's Go. The Let's Go. Now, you've got Let's Go Comics, and this is your just Let's Go podcast, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I want to make sure I say that right. Okay.
Yeah, because Rick doesn't read comics.
And yeah, I don't read comics.
Just Rob.
Never read any comics. Anyway, so that's funny. But Justin and I are going to go head, we're going to go toe-to-toe here, and we're going to debate the best Guns N' Roses songs on Tuesday. I think that's going to be a lot of fun for some old-school rock and rollers out there. So be looking for that podcast. Follow me on Twitter at Shewrick, SHEWRICK. And that's it. Their best song is Dead Horse, by the way. Moving on.
Oh, come on.
Come on.
Yeah, all right. We'll save that for later. All right, Ryan. Oh, we got Ryan.
You got me.
I got you, Ryan.
Follow me on Twitter at SMB_Ryan, and follow the ELTD podcast, the Everyone Loves Drake podcast, on Twitter at ELTD podcast. And hey, I'm also, for you North Carolina people, we're going to do a Super Mario Brothers movie screening on September 14th, Friday, at the History Museum downtown. It's going to be so good, and we're going to have a Q&A panel with some people that worked on the movie and everything. So come out and watch that. It's free.
Cool. What about the isn't there a museum exhibit right now as well somewhere?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you're in Texas, if you're in close to Dallas, if you go to Frisco, Texas, they have the National Video Game Museum there, and we have a Mario Brothers 25th anniversary exhibit you can go see. It is super good, and we have props and prosthetics and costumes. You can see Princess Daisy's dress. We have the Thwomp Stompers, like real ones from the movie. Really good stuff. And of course, if you can't make it there, we're going to have some good video content up on the site on smbmovie.com for that. But if you're close to Dallas, check that out. It's good stuff.
John Leguizamo will be there, right? He's the doorman, right?
No, unfortunately.
Jokes. All right, you can find me on Twitter at J_Rocka, and you can check out the Let's Go podcast and the Let's Go comic show if you want to, and even Rick will be on one, so I don't know if that's going to get you there or not, but please check it out. Batman on Film, check us out on Twitter at Batman on Film. Go to our website at www.batman-on-film.com and check out everything that's going on over there. Reviews of comics and movies and even your un-Batman needs, we'll take care of you there. We got Mission Impossible reviews on there right now as well. So go check out Batman on Film. Support the site again. Go to patreon.com/Batman on Film, where you can be a part of what we're doing. Join us as we, search and look for the next great Batman movie. All right, you guys. Bill, thank you again for being on the show.
Yes.
Is there anything you want to say to close us out?
I'm glad I did this show. I'm actually choked up a little bit. It just brings back a lot of good memories, and
it's how good Batman can be.
And yes, and it also what Batman on Film is all about, and it's more than just having a website and being known. And it was, these films are what it's about, and I do want to get back to that again, and have that kind of fun, because the last few years haven't been fun covering Batman on Film, and but we can get there again, and that's all I got.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for listening. Announcer Rachel will take us out.
You've been listening to the Batman on Film podcast, a proud member and the sponsor of the Batman Podcast Network, BatmanPodcastNetwork.com. You can listen to the BOF podcast on iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, TuneIn, and wherever good podcasts like this one can be found. Want to advertise on the BOF podcast? go to advertisecast.com/the Batman on Film Con podcast. Follow Jett on Twitter at Batman on Film and on BOF's Facebook fan page at facebook.com/jet.batmanonfilm. Email Jett via jet@batman-on-film.com. I'm announcer Rachel. Thanks for listening.